Hi, we are Antonio
and Mandy Martin.
Welcome to our new podcast called The People We Meet.
In today's podcast, we would like to tell you a little bit about ourselves and why we are starting a podcast. Antonio and I have known each other for about 31 years.
31 wonderful years.
And we've been married 27 years. And we have 3 children. Our oldest is a teacher, and she's been married about a year. Our middle daughter is a senior in college, and our youngest is a freshman in college. So we're almost empty nesters. Can't believe it.
Yes.
I've been a nurse about 27 years as well. I've worked in different settings, and currently I'm a nurse care manager.
And I've been in the plumbing septic business for 30 years and 19 years of owning my own business. And I sold it 2 years ago to another local plumbing company. And I actually went to work for them. And then here we are.
So we have a few reasons why we wanted to start a podcast. For me, my dad was in the military when I was young, in the Air Force, and so we moved around a lot, and I didn't know my extended family very well. So a few years ago, I just wanted to try to renew some of those relationships, and just thought about some different ideas, maybe interviewing some of my family and writing down their stories. And then it had the idea of making videos and getting their stories on video for our family, for our children. We have some really good family members and some really neat stories that we wanted to record.
And so for me, I've always wanted to write a book. And so I kind of got the girls excited about it. And so a number of years was saying, hey, will you write your part? I'll write my part. And then we'll put it all together and put it in a book. And maybe we can inspire other families. But we've never got around to it. And so that was, 5 years ago?
So, yeah, then had the idea of maybe putting those stories on video, too. So, basically, a lot of video
putting
ideas.
it on video would make it a lot easier, but we never got around to it.
So, then we fast forward to this year, 2024. It's been quite an eventful year.
Yes.
Antonio was diagnosed with prostate cancer in February of this year. And of course, that was a shock to us. Yeah. Prostate cancer is different than other types of cancer. Usually it's a slow growing cancer. So the doctors were, pretty confident that we could make some plans for, either surgery, whatever treatment we decided. It didn't have to be emergency or urgent surgery. So we took our time. Antonio got a few second opinions. We saw several doctors. We did a lot of research ourselves. Yeah. And then decided on the surgery. And then also we had a couple of vacations we wanted to go on.
We wanted to make sure we went on vacations.
So, we didn't know how long the recovery was going to be. So we just wanted to make sure that we got that time together and time with family.
Yes.
So we scheduled the surgery for this summer. And so we got to go on one of those vacations first in the end of May. And when we were there, it was just fun. We just relaxed a lot, just had no plans, went to the beach, went biking and walking. Antonio and I got a lot of time just to kind of talk about his job after he sold the business to this company. He'd been working for that company some, and he was looking to try to get away from some of the physical work and do more kind of training, possibly some sales.
Presentations, yeah.
So we talked a lot about that. He had some really good ideas. He was coming up with a presentation, kind of some different ways of making sales. So we get back from Florida.
Yep.
And the next week, his boss calls him into the office on...
Well, first of all, the day before, he said, well, we want to get together and meet. And I'm like, okay, no big deal. But I got off late that day, and so I basically said, we'll meet tomorrow, and got out of a business meeting and got to the office.
And by the way, that day was June 6th, and we'll come back to that in a minute.
June 6th.
June 6th.
Oh, boy. Yes.
2024.
Yeah.
So he gets a call. He lets me know he's going into this meeting, doesn't know what it's about. And I was pretty positive. I thought, well, maybe he's just going to talk to you about some of the things you guys have been talking about the training or, some other position in the company.
Yeah, and just even several weeks before that, I actually got a bonus, and so I'm thinking, more sales, more training, different things like that. And as we're getting ready to go into this meeting, he had an assistant with him, and we're going in, and he said, "Well, this is not going to be a very good meeting, right?" And I'm sitting there thinking, "Why wouldn't it be?" And I'm like, I wouldn't know a good meeting from a bad meeting simply because we'd only met maybe 2 or 3 times before that. So we get in the meeting and sit down, and he said, "Well, today is your last day with this company." And I'm like, "What? Are you serious?" And he was like, "No, I'm serious." And I look at the assistant, and I'm like, "You kidding me, right?" And he was like, he just sit there, And I'm like, I'm, I'm. Once I realized they're serious, now it's like boom. It's almost like this bomb goes off in my head, and now I'm thinking about we're going on vacation next week. Finances. We need more finances. And then I'm thinking surgery. And it's just like my mind was all over the place. And it was almost like the worst hit you can have in football is to be blindsided. It's just like you're going and out of nowhere. It's just like you can't brace yourself, you can't prepare for it, and all of a sudden it just rocks your world. And my world was rocked, and all I could feel like boom, and I'm floating in the air. And then I come down, boom. And then he says, "So, do you want to have someone to come pick you up? Or do you want us to take you home?" And I'm like,
Did they walk you out with security?
"Nah." But it was one of those things to where I'm just like, I still couldn't get over it. And I'm like, "Are you serious?" And I may have asked that question, I don't know, 5 to 7 times. And then I was like, "Yeah, you can have someone to take me home." And he had one of the other guys, actually one of the guys that I'd actually gotten a job there. He was actually taking me home, and I'm sitting there, and then I call you, and I'm, trying to hold back the tears. It's like, man.
And Antonio does not cry.
Well, it's just like this was the first time that I've been without a job since I was in high school. And when I say without a job, normally if I, left a job, I would at least put in a 2 week notice, but it was just like boom, nothing. Oh man.
So he comes home and spends a little time having to unload his work truck and, um, you know, get everything situated. So a couple hours later, we're finally able to talk about it, and we're both kind of just shocked, kind of staring at each other. And then we realize today's June 6th. So 2024, June 6th, 2024 was the anniversary of D-Day in World War II. And so it really did feel like a D-Day. So now we refer to that day as D-Day.
Boom.
So we got to talk a little bit, and then that night, I think we stayed up all night.
All night, yes. At least I know I did.
And we were just, talking about new ideas, what we're going to do. Not really well, I'll speak for myself. I wasn't really worried, but it was just a shock to your system. So the adrenaline's pumping, you just can't sleep. So, but I gotta say this. It was interesting though, during the night, even from the time he got home and then during the night, he would say about every few minutes, "I gotta go get a job." I said, "No, you don't." "Oh, yeah, I gotta go get a job." But we had this vacation coming up the next week. We'd already paid for it. We might as well go on it. The surgery was going to be the week after that. So literally he could not get a job.
Yeah, but I at least wanted to put in like some resumes or something. As a entrepreneur, it's like you're always trying to find work for the next job. Just you're always on the go trying to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, if there was not work coming in, you just go out and find it. So that's just how he's made. So that was an interesting night. But then after that, over the next few days, things kind of calmed down some. We got to go on the vacation. That was really good. That was our church conference.
And that conference really helped me out because we normally take that time to where just spending time with God, it's like a Bible conference. So just taking that time to really hear from God and just try to get direction and just insight and just that balance, or just that
Yeah, just being in the
stability.
presence of God and just, his comfort. And basically, we didn't know kind of the next steps after surgery, but we knew God was going to help us. So
Yeah.
that was, for me, that was very, just brought a lot of peace, just not knowing exactly how things were going to work out, but knowing God was watching, God sees us, God knows, and he is our provider. So just knowing he was going to help us.
And it was like she said, it was different for her, but for me it was like all I had to grab onto was God. Just okay, God, I'm looking to you.
So we go to the conference, we get back, and then the week that we get back, he's scheduled for the surgery. So surgery went really well. The good thing was they did get all the cancer, so that was
Yes.
wonderful.
Yes.
And then, the day of surgery, about an hour after the surgery, they want him up walking. So he and his mom and I, and she was holding his IV bag, I was holding his urinary bag, and he was holding a walker.
And then I had my bag, and it was
So
like,
we're just making laps around the nurse's station. You know, so, and I say that, and I'll come back to the walking in just a second, but so that day went fine. We got home, had a few little minor setbacks.
she call them minor, I call them major.
Possibly had a blood clot. We were in the emergency room twice.
Yeah, I went to the emergency room twice.
So Antonio's a little bit gun shy. In 2016, do you mind if I tell about your
Sure, yeah.
medical history?
Yeah, please.
2016, he had just a simple hernia repair, developed blood clots in his legs. They went to his lungs. Basically, we got to the hospital just in time. He almost died from those blood clots in his lung, filled his right lung, put pressure on his heart. He went into heart failure. And so anyway, he's very sensitive about blood clots.
Oh,
So
yeah.
in fact,
Very
the day
sensitive.
of the surgery, I was making sure his surgeon gave him a big dose of blood thinner right
Yeah.
before surgery. He had it right afterwards. So, and then still he felt like he had one. But anyway, that worked
Well,
out okay.
Well,
Yeah, I'm not going to go there. And then 2 days later, we were back in the emergency department for another blood issue.
Yeah,
That turned out okay. That was
but it was
crazy. Okay. Anyway,
Okay.
so during this whole time, we are starting this walking. So we walk the day after surgery or the day of surgery, and then each day. And so once we got home, whether he felt like it or not, we were out there walking.
Well, and the thing is, they really encourage walking. I mean, like hours. Hey, get up, walk. So it was just got in a habit of walking, whether it was 10 feet.
But basically, we live on a long street, so we would go up and down the street. I would hold his urinary bag. He would hold his other bag.
Yeah.
And up and down the street a couple times, and that's about all we could handle. Then that up and down the street turned into half a mile, turned into a mile and 2 miles, and we would do this all together. So this is the first time in our marriage that we took daily walks, and we really liked it. It
Yeah.
was
Well, and just like a period of time. It wasn't just like walk here. I mean, it was like what, 3 months?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then sometimes an hour per day. And so it was just so nice to be able to talk and think and brainstorm. And it was like God was just giving us all these ideas. And I wake up very early. So I'd wake up and I would have all these ideas and drink my coffee and bouncing off the walls with my ideas.
And
But I would wait till he woke up.
Are you awake yet?
I would lean over, look at his eyes.
Are you awake? Yeah, I'm awake now.
So I wanted to get up real early. It was in the summertime, so it was hot. So we had to get out there early and walk. Anyway, so it was just so neat. We would have all these ideas about things we wanted to do. I mean, for years now, we've talked about doing some other type of work and learning how to work smarter, not harder, learning how to make money work for us, learning how to invest, and all these ideas we've had for so long. And we kept, wow, this is the perfect opportunity to put these things into practice that we've always wanted to do. So God really did give us a good perspective on it. And so we started talking about, again, about making videos, about my family, interviews, writing a book. And then one morning we were out and it kind of came to us both at the same time. It's like, why don't we just turn this into a podcast?
Yes.
So these stories, so not just my family interviews, not just our lives, but we've met people. Go ahead.
Well, I have to say, like, we thought about starting a podcast far as our family. And then I kept going down all these rabbit holes. And it's like, well, Dad, you're getting off the subject. But I'm like, we've met so many people.
Yeah, that's what it was.
We've met so many people. We've got to add these people in. And it just got to a point where we couldn't do a podcast on family. And then that's kind of how we came up with the people we meet.
So the people we meet, just what that means is over the years, we have met people from all walks of life, through our church, again, family, through our jobs, through our coworkers, customers, business groups. Antonio doesn't meet a stranger. I mean, he meets people at Walmart and Lowe's. So it's like he doesn't meet a stranger, and it's not like he just says, "Hey, how are you doing? What kind of work do you do?" It turns into a very long conversation. So he just loves people, loves being around people. So we just thought, man, we have met so many interesting people over the years that have inspired us by their stories, whether it's they've gone through trials and come out on the other end smiling and a stronger person, or it's athletes that he's met through the university, through University of Georgia, coaches that he's spoken for at their, like their players meetings.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of the coaches, we are still friends with some of those coaches.
Yeah. And just, now that I didn't have a job, I'm sitting there thinking, well, I want to be able to do something where I'm interacting with people.
So what we are planning to do is to interview people that we've met over the years and that have met recently and that we're going to meet in the future, and share with you those stories. They've inspired us. They've given us hope. They've given us ideas in marriage and raising children, in sickness, overcoming obstacles. We just have and that's, I guess for me, that's what I want to express is especially in marriage, Antonio and I are, not only are we look differently, our personalities are quite the opposite. So, just looking to other couples and how much they've helped us, inspired us with their, getting through their marriage difficulties and problems, seeing other people raise kids well. And then with his cancer, being friends with other people who've been through cancer, and they've really given us hope and inspiration.
Yeah. And so me and Mandy, we've been married, 27 years. But we've been, Christians or, born again Christians for over 30 years now. And we've given our lives to helping people, whether it was personal or, through our professions. And that's what we're all about. We want to take this opportunity to give people hope, and just inspire them because, we need a lot of hope in this world, and just, sometimes we think that it's just, I'm just going through it, and I can just think about, like as a, young boy, growing up in a home, filled with drugs, alcohol, in the projects, and it was just like all the drama. I needed hope. And then just as a teenager, I thought the only way I was going to make it in life was through sports or the military. I needed hope. And then as a young man, turning 21 with no direction, I needed hope. And so I just think about even being, a husband, with, not a lot of good examples, as a businessman with very little education, I needed hope. And that's what we want to give you. We want to give you hope and let you know you're not the only one going through what you're going through. And we want to come together to inspire you. And that's what these videos are all about, to let you know you're not in this alone.
So please join us as we inspire you with the people we meet.